In the silence of empty streets, one mind carries the burden of truth. He walks among them, unmasked, not free, but awake. We are all born into this world, and like most people, we learn to navigate through life. We accept what is given, follow the crowd, and seek comfort in the familiar. But there comes a moment, for some, when the veil is lifted. The illusion fades. The world reveals itself not as it appears, but as it truly is. And with this revelation comes a heavy burden and awareness that most would rather avoid. What is the price of understanding? What is the cost of seeing the world for what it truly is, with no filters, no illusions? This is a journey that few are willing to take. It is a path filled with loneliness, with isolation, and with a profound sense of alienation. Yet, it is also a journey that leads to something greater, a kind of freedom that those who remain blind to the truth can never experience. What if the truth you seek destroys the comfort you live in? As we grow older, we accumulate knowledge. But with knowledge comes a burden. Awareness of the world's complexity, the awareness of our own limitations, and the awareness of our own mortality. These are things that many avoid confronting, yet for some, they are inescapable. We are forced to look at the world not as we wish it to be, but as it truly is, a harsh, indifferent place, where suffering and loneliness are ever present. At this point, we realize that knowing more does not make us happier. It only makes us more aware of the gap between our ideals and reality. The more we know, the more we become estranged from others who remain blissfully unaware. We are left to face this harsh truth alone. What happens when your mind outgrows the world around you? In a society that values conformity, intelligence can often feel like a curse. It sets us apart, makes us different, and leaves us unable to relate to those around us. While others are content to follow the crowd, we are forced to question, to seek answers, to understand things that others cannot or will not see. And this dissonance creates a sense of alienation. The more we understand, the more we realize how shallow the world around us truly is. The disconnect grows, and we are left wondering if there is a place for us in this society. But the truth is, there is no easy place for someone who sees the world as it is. And so we remain apart, wandering, searching for meaning in a world that doesn't seem to care. Why do the most intelligent minds feel the most alone? Despite the crowds that surround us, we are often left feeling more alone than ever. We find ourselves disconnected, unable to truly connect with others. The loneliness is not just physical, it is emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. It is a loneliness that comes from knowing that no one truly understands us, and from realizing that the world we inhabit is not one where we can easily belong. Even in the company of others, we are trapped in our own thoughts, lost in a world of introspection. The crowd is just a blur, a faceless mass that moves on without us. We are spectators in our own lives, watching the world go by, but never truly part of it. Is intelligence a gift or the source of your deepest suffering? Intelligence is a gift, but it is also a curse. It gives us the ability to understand, to see things others cannot. But it also isolates us, as we are forced to confront the vastness of our own awareness. The more we understand, the more we realize how little we truly know. And in that realization, we are faced with a constant struggle. How do we reconcile our own vast potential with the limitations of the world around us? It is a struggle that never ends. We are constantly searching for meaning, for answers, for something that can make sense of this complex, chaotic world. But the more we seek, the more we find that the answers only raise more questions. And so we continue, trapped in the cycle of thought, never quite able to escape the burden of our own intelligence. Can you pay the price for seeing reality as it truly is? With awareness comes a price. We are no longer able to ignore the flaws of the world, or the flaws within ourselves. We see the suffering, the injustice, the impermanence of everything around us. And we cannot unsee it. It becomes a part of us, a burden that we must carry for the rest of our lives. Once we have seen the truth, we cannot go back. The veil has been lifted, and we are left to navigate a world that no longer fits the illusions we once held. It is a difficult, painful journey, but it is also one that leads to greater freedom from the lies, from the comfort of ignorance, and from the chains that bind us to the world's superficiality. Are we ever truly connected or just pretending not to be alone? We live in a world where connections are often superficial, where relationships are built on fleeting moments and shallow interactions. But even in the deepest of connections, there is an underlying sense of distance, an awareness that no one truly understands us. We are all trapped in our own minds, struggling to bridge the gap between ourselves and others. The illusion of connection is a dangerous one. We convince ourselves that we belong, that we are understood, when in reality, we are alone. And in that loneliness, we seek meaning in the wrong places, clinging to fleeting moments of connection that never truly satisfy. What if being alone is the only way to find who you really are? After years of struggling with loneliness and the burden of awareness, there comes a moment of acceptance. We begin to embrace solitude, not as something to be feared, but as a space for growth, for self-discovery, and for peace. Solitude becomes a sanctuary, a place where we can finally connect with ourselves in a way that no external connection could ever offer. It is in this solitude that we find clarity, that we begin to understand our true selves. And in understanding ourselves, we are finally able to see the world for what it truly is, both beautiful and terrifying, full of potential and full of suffering. But we accept it all, because we have learned to accept ourselves. Once awakened, can you ever go back to sleep? There comes a moment when the fog clears, and we see the world in its true form. The confusion, the chaos, and the suffering are all still there, but we have learned to see them clearly. We have awakened to the reality of existence, and with that awakening comes a kind of freedom, the freedom to choose how we respond, the freedom to shape our own destiny. This awakening is not easy. It requires courage, strength, and an unwavering commitment to truth. But once we have seen the world as it is, we can no longer live in denial. We are free to embrace the complexity of existence, to find meaning in the chaos, and to create a life that is authentic and true. What do you do after the truth has shattered your world? Every journey has an end. And while the path has been difficult, filled with struggle and hardship, we have reached a place of understanding. We have come to terms with the world, with our own limitations, and with the reality of existence. The journey is not over, but the burden has lessened. We have learned to accept the world for what it is, and in that acceptance, we have found peace. And so, we walk away, not with regret, but with a quiet sense of fulfillment, knowing that we have faced the truth, and that we are no longer afraid.